Welcome to Saving Throws, the only podcast that requires you to roll for initiative. Like now. I'm Ali. I think Commander is the best format, and if you mill me, I will fight you.
I'm Kingsley. I have a real life dexterity of 5. Please don't hate me.
I'm Harry, and I have 2 blue floating.
We are a bunch of dudes with a bunch of opinions you probably don't care about, and we cannot change the space we are in. But that is not going to stop us from rambling, talking about a bunch of stuff.
True.
And it's all sorts of things we care about too. Whether you like it or don't like it, we still do. So please don't at us.
Or happily at me if you agree or disagree that magic art that shows things bigger than trees or literal gods in the sky don't have reach. I will die on this hill.
Episode 1, we're already getting into it.
Yeah, true. I mean, imagine being a god in Theros and someone shoots you with a bow from like really, really far away, and you're like, my arms are too small.
See, now I'm
Right.
glad you brought up Theros because even one drop elf archers have reach, but Nylea, the god of the hunt, and literally in the art depicted as bigger than the mountains in the sky with a giant bow, doesn't have reach. So if a bird flies near her, she's at a severe disadvantage.
Maybe it's just one of those things where it's like best left unsaid, where it's fully just like, yeah, obviously I can do that. I'm a god, but I don't want to flex.
I guess if we went through a few of the things we will be covering, we are probably going to be covering everything nerd and geek because, well, we love those things from magic to D&D to video games to pretty much everything that would probably have got you bullied 10 years ago in school for.
That hits way too deep.
Cuts real hard. Harry, do you want to take us away with a sweet little dice roll?
Absolutely, guys. Let me just get my little D12.
Well, while he gets his D12, we'll take a minute to go over what we're probably going to do from here on out through every podcast. We're going to have one of the members here roll a dice, and that will decide the topic we shall cover. It could be anything from weirdest video game NPCs to why your DM doesn't love you.
Also, creating decks using only handsome goblins. I will die on
Yes, you will, you little goblin.
Look, every goblin deserves to be loved, and I'm ready to take a shot for that idea.
I'm ready to love again. All right.
I'm ready to love it.
I'm here to roll the dice before we start talking about handsome goblins, because we'll be here for 30 minutes. Because they're all handsome in their own way. They're all handsome in their own way. All right, we rolled an 8. Let's see what that is on the topic board. We don't have a sound effect for that yet, but when we get more money, maybe we will. And that will be MTG Fanon and Crack Theories. Bum-ba-da-dum.
That's a pretty good topic. Again, addressing money. If you would like to support our show, check out the Saving Throws OnlyFans. That is not a real thing. Please do not look that up.
It is now.
But if you do look up
It is
Goblin
now.
War Chief OnlyFans, send me a link to that because Goblin War Chief, easily the most handsome goblin.
Oh, absolutely. That
Yeah.
should be a new topic. Fuck the topic we just rolled. We're talking about fuckable goblins right now.
Okay, cool. Let me take it away. Top
Go ahead.
3 fuckable goblins. Goblin War Chief. He's just built different.
I'm killing this right fucking now. Jesus Christ.
But I haven't even got to talk about Goblin Ringleader. Goblin Ringleader also built different, and he has just
We literally rolled to get away from you talking about handsome goblins, and we have now found ourselves talking about handsome fucking goblins.
Okay, back on topic. I mean, Krenko though, but back on topic. All right. MTG Fanon and Crack Theories. All right. Kingsley, why don't you take us away?
I will take you away. I am the least well versed in MTG lore.
True.
But I'll hit you with a little something here.
All right.
Okay.
I'll eat some celery while you do so.
If they didn't want us to build decks around handsome goblins, why did they make goblins handsome?
Man, I ask this question every day.
Oh boy, we're here. Oh,
For real though, I, as someone who loves playing MTG but is outside of the lore, and I know you guys both love your lore. do you care to explain to me why Jace walks around like an absolute just amnesiac all the time?
Because Wizards of the Coast really like to give him mental trauma. And there has been like two different, maybe three. No, actually, yes, there actually has been three times now where he's had his mind fucked on a very large scale. The first time was when he was fighting his previous mentor, you know, a guy who, I guess I say a guy, a Sphinx, who taught him everything in the ways of magic, only to that later on take his body. And when Jace figured this out, was like, we're gonna throw down. I'm gonna use my mind magic on you, on a mage who's much stronger than I am. But it managed to work, but he ended up losing all his memories and his spark awoke because of the stress. A little tidbit there. That's how he became a planeswalker. And then he fucked off to Ravnica. I think I'm probably gonna get a bunch of hate for that, but I can't remember fully.
No, he did. He got to Ravnica.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay,
I think
nice.
Amara. He was found by Amara Tandris. I think. I don't know. Is that her last name?
And
Amara
then,
Tandris?
and then the second mind fucking was when Nicol Bolas was literally in the Gatewatch. We're like, we can take on Bolas. He ain't shit. They learn very quickly that he is shit. And Jace was teleported to Ixalan with all his memories wiped, where he briefly became a pirate. Where we will go into Hunky Jace another day. And
Oh,
the
I
third
love
one,
Hunky Pirate Chase. I love
I
him.
Hunky
do.
Pirate
That
Jace.
is that
And
is
the
actually
third time was actually in the most recent set, not counting Legends, but in the most canon lore set was Zendikar, where he just had his mind completely fucked by, I can't remember, it was either Nissa or Nahiri. There was a big showdown between the three of them. Luckily, it didn't last like a whole arc. It was very brief, and he got composure over himself again. It was Nahiri because the art is actually showed on the card. I think it's Nahiri's binding. Our lovely editor Kingsley will make sure to put that card art in the video for the people watching and not listening via only podcast
Maybe
services.
put some googly eyes over them so we don't get flagged by Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think cards should be free use. There's a magnitude of YouTube channels that just show the cards, but
Okay, fair. All right.
it's Nahiri's binding, and she used lithofoam, the things that were used to trap the Eldrazi, to basically mess with his head and give him a bunch of different images. But after it was only a momentary thing for her to escape, and he got control over his assets again, which I'm glad because I really couldn't be bothered. As much as I love Jace, I'm a J simp, but I'm glad we're not having another story of who am I, what am I, why, whose shoes are these. I'm glad it's just it was a momentary thing. Slight tangent to that. Am I the only one here? Maybe Kings, if you don't know much about the lore, am I the only one here that really, really, really hopes they don't bring Bolas back for a while? And I say that as a Bolas lover. I love his cards. I love his lore. I think how his Spark Awakened was really stupid, but I like how I obviously Wizards would never kill him. He's like a cash cow for them, even though they did kill Gideon. But there was the whole thing with War of the Spark where he's just trapped in Ugin's meditation realm. But I feel like War of the Spark is still fairly recent, and I don't think Bolas should make a comeback for a while.
No, I don't think he will.
War of the Spark was like what, 2018, 2019?
I think so, yes. I think it was
Time is
20.
truly an enigma to me because if you're listening to this in 2020 or even 2021, I mean, you know why. I don't have to go
Yeah,
into it.
2020. Who thought March would last 9 months?
It truly didn't.
It was also 2019, by the way, War of the Spark.
2019.
2019.
Hey, I was just, maybe a year off. One thing for me about the whole Jace thing, because I remember that Jace had like a romance with Vraska.
I ship it.
Yeah.
I'm a big Golgari fan. Like I exclusively
Rise up, motherfucker, rise up.
I almost exclusively, black green rise up, baby. Almost exclusively used to play Golgari, and even outside of Ravnica, I just love the theming of it. So does Jace remember that he was once in love with Vraska, or
there's actually there's a whole thing about that, and he actually kept pursuing his love for her even after because he fell in love with her, and then even when he got his memories back, decided to stay in love with her. And even though she really feared Bolas's wrath, they kept their love together. And Jace, was kind of classic story of she will change and go to the good side. And they did get their time in the sun after Bolas was defeated, but when it came to her choosing to lead the Golgari horde or be with Jace, she elected to. It was better for her to dedicate herself to her people, the Golgari, and pretty much left Jace standing there. She literally plain walked away. And I think well, there's nothing about it in Zendikar, but I can't remember what said it was. I think Jace is very much still in love with her, and I think there's feelings there because I think there was a brief canon where they met up once more, but she is very much only caring about the Golgari right now and leaving Jace to his magical theorem and tests in Ravnica while she leads the Horde.
Yeah, I think what was it? God, I do love Jason Vraska. I mean, they're just perfect for each other. I mean, one's an amnesiac pirate hunk, and another one's a Golgari assassin with snakes for hair. I mean, a match made in heaven.
She's
Yeah,
a
really.
queen of the Gorgons, baby.
Yeah.
Wait, was this is me showing? I'm gonna be eaten alive. This is me truly showing
Eaten alive.
how bad I am
First
at
blood.
magic lore. So Vraska, was she basically not commissioned, because that's such a strange, like, anachronistic phrase for what Bolas does, but was she brought on by Bolas to keep Jace captured, basically?
Actually, no. It was literally for all those people who posted it in the newspapers. It was essentially a chance encounter.
Yeah, Bolas sent Vraska to Ixalan to find the MacGuffin. You know,
The immortal son.
yeah, that MacGuffin. And sent her to Ixalan, and she kind of just found Jason. Was like, "Oh, you're here. Fuck you." And he was like, I have no idea who you are." And she was like, "Wait, what?" And then they became friends because Jace was like a nicer person when he had no
Yeah,
memories.
he had no memories, and she was like, this insanely powerful mage. She'd make a great pirate, and he did use his gifts to help her pirating. Even though that wasn't why she was there, but for all the threats on Ixalan, having a mage you could literally sculpt to your will would come in very handy. And they kind of fell for each other, and yeah, she was only there to pick up the immortal sun. The big thing for War of the Sparks was the Immortal Sun. I mean, the card makes all your spells cost 2 less. You get additional draw on your draw step, and any, including your own Planeswalker abilities, can be activated. But from a lore standpoint, it means that Planeswalkers can't Planeswalk off the plane they're in once the Immortal Sun is placed down. And he summoned. Well, I think it was. I think it worked out perfectly. Was because no, yeah, a lot of planeswalkers felt the urge to come to Ravnica, but also the Gatewatch had summoned a lot to help them fight Bolas. And when almost every single planeswalker appeared in Ravnica, Bolas clamped down the Immortal Sun to trap them all there. It was part of his big plan to harvest all their sparks to become this all-seeing omnipotent god, because he managed to make these zombies that weren't just. I love how in the lore he didn't want to have basic bitch zombies that would just crumble away like in most movies, so he covered them in lazatote plating, but their cards usually only ever are like a 1/1 or a 2/1. But they
Or
all had the
zombies.
ability. They all had the ability to harvest sparks, which would kill a planeswalker because that's what keeps that is their. It is all their abilities, but also them losing that kills them. And the first death of War of the Sparks was Dominari for all those Gruul lovers out there. Great Planeswalker for Red Green, but he charged in with his boars and and the Gruul clan and just had his spark ripped out by a Lazatope zombie and was the first death of War of the Sparks, and everyone was like, "Oh shit, we can die." I mean, a lot of planeswalkers used to be in the lore immortal. Then Wizards were like, "Let's just do this big thing called the Mending," so planeswalkers are no longer immortal and have unforetold power. They kind of get nerfed in terms of lore. But Dominar was the first death, and then everyone else was like, "Shit, okay, so we can actually lose our sparks." And now when we lose them, Bolas essentially eats them. Oh, this may be a bit of a harder fight than we thought. That mixed in with the gods of Amonkhet. Bolas literally had killed, then brought them back to life as zombies under his command.
Bolas, he used again. Please don't eat me alive. So Bolas used the planar bridge, right, to bring over armies. Because usually as a planeswalker, you can only planeswalk by yourself, or correct me if I'm wrong. with a few things. But he used the planar bridge to bring over a whole bunch of armies from Amonkhet, right?
Yeah, using your phrase, don't kill me, but he's a planeswalker, can't remember his name. He's either blue or blue-black. Is Tezzeret, I think his name
Yeah.
is.
Yep.
Yeah, he
It
built the
was built
planar
into him.
bridge.
No,
And
actually, it was from Kaladesh, I think. I think he found it from I think it was Reshme? I don't know. She's like completely unimportant.
I know the card first came up in Kaladesh, but he built it and brought it to Amonkhet, or brought it to Ravnica, one of the two places. Or I think it's a two-way Stargate thing, and he literally marched through the whole, like, all the gods of Amonkhet and his army of Lazatope all into Ravnica. Because that was a way. Because obviously, when you planeswalk, I think you can either bring a person with you, or obviously everything on you becoming a person or an animal, whatever. But that's it. It's not like I can bring my whole playgroup. Unless your playgroup's one other person, but Bolas, he literally brought over his entire army and all the gods of Amonkhet.
This is
Yeah,
so
he really
left
could be.
field.
Oh yeah.
But I guess because we're doing like crack theories, do you think a planeswalker has fully ever traveled but forgotten to bring something they needed? Like, okay, I know it's not essential because obviously when you're creating card art and when you're doing lore, it's very important to talk about like the extremely important and relevant stuff to the story. But like, you think Jace ever planeswalked and was like, oh shit, my toothbrush?
Definitely,
I mean,
definitely
I
left
don't
us
think it.
memories at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what Jason is. He might be like, what even is a toothbrush? I mean, I guess if it's a big enough deal, you could planeswalk back and get it. Even though now with the mending, planeswalking has its tolls on your body. I can't remember who it was. It was during War of the Sparks. Planeswalked a shit ton of times. I was just drained by it because of the mending and nerfdom lore wise. I mean, if you want a real crack theory, what about the crack theory that Commander was invented by Ultra Pro and Dragon Shield to sell more sleeves?
They're like, yeah, we can put them in packs of 100. Cool.
I
Yeah, go ahead.
never understood it.
Never understood it, guys. Never understood it.
It was because I know you truly just sometimes will come out with the most left field shit. What is your favorite like fanon or crack theory that you've got working at the minute, especially with the new 2021 roadmap coming out?
Oh, the 2021 roadmap. Okay, so uh I'm looking forward to Strixhaven. I read Harry Potter as a child, so magic schools is my shit. But I mean, my crack theory is that there's gonna be a full on fucking so we know that there's like double faced like modal this is not really a crack theory, this is like more like mechanically and probably a little more sound than a crack theory. But so you know how we are getting modal double faced cards in like Zendikar, Coldheim, and Strixhaven. Um, I was I had heard saw this online. It makes a lot of sense. In Strixhaven, there's going to be legendary creature mages that are modal double face that are spells. So they're like a creature or their like signature spell. I think
So like
really
the old Innistrad werewolves, or like this new what we're seeing with Zendikar is the lands that flip into creatures or spells.
yeah, exactly. But it's like a legendary creature that either is you play it as the creature or you play their like signature spell or whatever the fuck. I think that would be super cool. But no, I am extremely excited for Strixhaven. It looks dope, and I love wizards. Wizards are cool. I've played like 5 wizards in D&D, and they're awesome. They're awesome. I love Izzet. I love wizards. What's there not to love? It's the most elite university in the multiverse.
I guess adding on to that, because like you brought in D&D, my 100% anticipated set, and it's a set I've been saying for a long time should be in Magic because it's the same owners.
Yeah.
The Forgotten Realms. I cannot wait for that card set. I am making decks around almost everything. I really hope we don't get what we got with Ikoria, and it's just alternative art like we're getting Godzilla cards. I hope it's actual cards like I don't want to see the Dragon, but then the name is just given Tiamat, and it's just an appeal. Don't get me wrong, I run an Dragon deck. I'd probably they'll probably guaranteed would swap the Dragon out and put in the altered art for Tiamat in there. But I want to see actual cards, not just altered art versions where it's just like a cheese. Like I mean, like Tiamat, I feel is almost like 100% confirmed card they're gonna do. You could probably argue Tiamat is one of the most well-known entities in all of D&D. Some people are going to be shouting out, "No, Strahd's more well-known," but I would argue Tiamat is more associated with D&D as much as dragons are. And I know that's kind of a caveat because Tiamat is a dragon goddess, but like usually when I think D&D, I think Tiamat. She is one of the most iconic things about D&D, apart from the memories and friends you make along the way. But I would love to see a Tiamat card. I'd love to see it. This is pretty niche, and I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't in it. But as someone whose favorite god in D&D is the Raven Queen, I would just love a Raven Queen card. I'd love to put a commander deck around her. I mean, we have seen before past Magic expansions. They do love to put gods in there. You've got you've got your Thoros gods. You've got your Amonkhet gods. We have confirmed gods from the Kaldheim set coming out, and if they wanted to add some more god cards into their the words escape me into their cards, as for lack of a better term, into their I guess their encyclopedia or catalog of cards. I think you could really there's a lot of good D&D stuff you can pull from. You got the Raven Queen. I think would be an amazing. I mean, because they hire some amazing artists, and the Raven Queen's only had. There's more fan art of the Raven Queen than there is actual Wizard sanctioned art. I'd love to see a Raven Queen card art. I feel guaranteed as Tiamat. Wouldn't be surprised if they put Strahd in. People do love vampires and wizards. We now know with Innistrad vampires and Innistrad werewolves, we are getting more vampire sets. So it'd be really cool in the Forgotten Realms set if they put a nice legendary creature Strahd card in there, because you're not putting Strahd in the card set if he's not going to be legendary. Let's be serious. And then if you could really, I can't think of the word, the pairing. It's a nicer word for pairing. You, synergy. You get all this synergy from the Innistrad set coming out with vampires. You've got your Strahd and Forgotten Realms. Wait a couple months down the line, now you can get that synergy with the vampires you're going to get from Innistrad. I think that is there any putting it forward to you guys? Is there any D&D cards you would like to see? We already have Bag of Holding that came in Eldraine. That is an artifact card. But is there any of your guys' personal favorite either creature types or even gods of your own, or even just module big bads? I mean, I've never played Curse of Strahd, but I've heard a lot about it, and I've read some of it to maybe DM it for my group as an arc in my campaign. Is there any favorites you guys like to see be brought into the world of Magic the Gathering?
I think for me, like, obviously, we're gonna have to wait a hot minute. I don't think Forgotten Realms comes out until like Q3, so we're gonna be looking
It comes out July.
yeah. So Strixhaven's going to come out before that, but the most exciting thing for me is obviously like I said, please don't kill me. I don't know very much about the lore of MTG, but the lore of Dungeons and Dragons, sign me up. Despite the fact that the lore is what you make it in D&D, one of the things that I'm most excited for, and I'll die on this hill, is the fact that we get more hunky goblins.
Oh, fuck.
Here we go.
I really hope that because goblins are so associated with D&D, it's your cliche what you throw at your party at the very first session.
Level 1.
So yes, I really hope just against you, there's enough. We just got more goblins, literally dead with Zendikar, and we got some amazing goblin commanders from Commander Legends. I hope as a vendetta against you, Kingsley, we get no fucking goblins in the Forgotten Realms set, because I will die on that hill. Goblins are not fucking hunky.
We legally
I saw him teeing up. He was like a batter in the 9th. He was like, all right, here we go. This is my bit for the night. He was like, wah, wah, wah.
Straight goofing if you thought I wasn't going to bring it up again. Seriously though, as someone who loved playing Baldur's Gate, I'm excited to see some of the heroes from Baldur's Gate, people like Mince coming in, and even our little hamster friend. But you've already seen, like, it's weird to me that, because it doesn't seem like we get D&D supplements or like adventures as much as we get more Magic sets. It's like you've got how many sets a year? They standardize it to like 3.
Well,
Great.
I mean, it's changed this year. I mean, I'm not sure what's going on with Wizards, if there has been something in the background money-wise for them, but they have been pumping out products like no tomorrow this year. We used
Yeah.
to get one commander set a year, and this year we've had two, four, we've had uh, three commander sets this year. The four decks at the start of the year, the two decks midway through the year for Zendikar, and then Commander Legend two decks. And it's already been confirmed we're getting two decks for Kaltime. Don't get me wrong, as a commander player, and I do think it is the best format to play Magic, I am looking forward to it. But at a certain point, it becomes a cash grab. The Zendikar commander decks were good, even though one of them was a milling deck. The cards that were in there, me and my other half, we bought both the decks. We always buy the commander sets, and we play against each other, and we also play in our friend group. We just picked them up at Walmart because it'd be fun to go home and play them. And it sucked to get milled, and then I didn't even like playing the mill deck, but we both enjoyed it. It was a good night of fun. She destroyed the landfall deck to take it apart for her own deck she was making. I took a few cards out of it. The Rogue Mill deck had a couple good reprints in it, like seeing Black Blade Reforged in there. Somewhat expensive card. I'm a commander player who's not going to spend hundreds of dollars. I think the most expensive deck I've ever made was $50. Because I very much like Commander on a budget. I feel like Commander's a game you can enjoy. A lot of people say that I can't play Commander because it's a super expensive format to get into. I totally disagree with that. I recently made a Commander deck, an Elf Tribal, for $9, and it kicks my play group's ass sometimes. But the most newest set for Commander Legends was absolute trash. You had it was Boros and it was Simic. Two great colors I think we can all agree on here. Especially I love Simic. But the Boros deck, the commander on the front of it, it came with his name was Wowlith, and his whole thing was he was 3 mana to play. He's I think a 1/3 with trample, and whenever he attacks, you draw a card for each aura and equipment on him. Which you think, okay, this is a Voltron style deck, but then you open the deck up. You had 40 land cards. Now I understand that you don't want to ever run out of fuel and not be drawing land in a commander deck. But and I know Boros doesn't really have fetch lands, but 40 land cards in a Boros deck is ridiculous. Even worse when I think it was I can pull up the proper specs in a minute, but 4 creatures or 5 creatures and 30 something instances with a couple of auras and equipments. They did reprint Sunforger in that deck, which again was nice to see. But if you're showing the commander deck and marketing it as a Voltron commander, why is there so much instant heavy and land cards in the deck? It really seemed that whoever designed this specific deck at Wizards really based the whole deck around Sunforger more than the commander, because there were so many instances, and don't get me wrong, usually to have a lot of answers in your deck, but having more instances than you do equipment and creatures in the deck for a Voltron commander seems to be that someone was like, we're going to put Sunforger in this, so let's just go ahead and throw in a shit ton of instances. And the overall value of the deck wasn't that much. Previous commander decks, the cards in it make up a total on the day of release because prices always drop. Afterwards, hundreds of dollars. This one was about 60. They could have thrown it as a Fire's Protection or something, or Smothering Tithe to bump up the price. And then you get the Simic deck, a commander that costs you 6 mana that lets you play an additional land in each of your turns, and whenever you play a land, you draw a card. That is terrible for 6. There is a Iona, not Iona, sorry. I can't remember her name. I have her. She's a 3-drop commander that whenever I land it as a battlefield on your side of the field, oh sorry, whenever I land DTBs on your side of the field, you draw a card and gain a life. It's Tationa, that's her name. She's a much better choice for that, and she's cheaper. If your commander costs 6 and works around land-based things, you're not getting much payoff on the later half of the game because you paid 6 to get your commander out. That's 6 turns without ramping, benefit the doubt without ramping. That's 6 turns before you get your commander out. Or those other Simic commanders that do the job better for cheaper, so when lands ETB, you're getting that effect. That deck came with 50 lands. That is fucking crazy to me. One with Simic, you've got green there. You can fetch lands like no tomorrow. Any of my commander decks I've got green in it, land is never a problem for me. But 50 lands, and I get it, the commander whenever land ETBs, but that's a lot of lands. And
Same.
and I personally wouldn't advise buying either of those two decks. If you wanted to, because unlike the Zendikar Commander decks, yeah, they weren't as good as the yearly Commander decks when you get 4 decks. They've now moved to a model that's 2 every set. There were some good cards in the Zendikar decks you could pull apart, but these two newest decks just seem like blatant cash grabs, which is so strange that the Zendikar decks before them were so good. And I know these sets are made 5 years, sometimes 7 years in the making. It's not like they're made. A lot of people think that the
Yeah.
decks are made in the same year. No, a lot of these
Yeah.
sets are 5, 6, 7 years in the making.
Uh-huh.
And I think they came out and said the Zendikar deck was actually made after the Commander Legend decks we got, which is understandable then why they're so bad. But now we know we're getting Commander decks for Kaldheim, and I really hope they're not like the Commander Legend decks, just terrible cards. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you want to have fun, it's just you and your other half, or you and your friend. If you don't have a 4-person play group, sure, go out and buy those 2 decks and just have a game against each other. But for people that want an introductory deck into Magic, buy the Zendikar decks or buy the decks that came out of the Korea this year or the 2019 Commander decks. Do not buy the Boros and the Simic Commander decks, because for what those colors are, you can make those decks for cheaper and better than what you'd be paying for the price on the shelves that Wizards is currently charging.
Yeah, I mean, they're coming out with a lot of stuff, and that's what I'm saying. Like, Wizards have come out with a ridiculous amount of. I mean, this year alone, we've had most recently Tasha's, which I personally am a big fan of. But even earlier, I mean, what I was saying was we've had a lot of Magic content for D&D, and there are a lot of things that obviously it's the same company. It's 2 separate teams at Hasbro that create the 2 games and create content for the 2 games. But we've already had Mythic Odyssey of Theros and the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, both of which introduce some great stuff into D&D. But I mean, it's even the basic stuff. We've got like the other day in Harry's campaign, we had a player who used Earthbind, possibly at the wrong time, but that's the story for another day.
Sorry, Richard. Sorry, I murdered your character. If you're listening, sorry, Richard.
But Earthbind is I mean, going back to you talking about Reach, if you don't have anything with Reach in your deck, make sure you got Earthbind or something similar, because that just brings a flying creature straight to the ground, and in D&D, it reduces their flying speed to 0. So there is that kind of like cross-pollination of the 2 IPs. But I mean, Magic and D&D are both these games where the core rules remain the same, but the setting is basically whatever you want. If anyone who works for Wizards of the Coast is listening to this, that is my plea for you to bring out Spelljammer. That's it. I will stop talking about handsome goblins if you bring out Spelljammer.
Planescape, please, 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 sir, just a crumb.
Planescape when.
What was I going to say? Before we move on, we've already moved on, but I will just say the one card I want to see in Adventures in the Forgotten Realms.
That was the question I asked that Kingsley completely dived around. So what is the card you would like to see, Harry?
I want to see Drizzt. I want to see Drizzt Do'Urden. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name.
I'll jump on that. I would love
right. I think it would be cool. I think he's kind of like iconic for me. Like, I've read so many fucking Forgotten Realms books. I would just like to see him. I want to see my boy. Give him to me, please.
Give us Drizzt. Also, I'll have I didn't dive around it. I told you I'd love to see Minsk. Also,
oh shit! Yeah, okay. Then I will let the people come for me, and I will be murdered on that hill.
Fine. You will have mobs at your house.
They're there already.
That's what that noise is. Okay.
I actually had heard that I don't know how like true this is, but I'd heard that Adventures in the Forgotten Realms was going to sort of lay over the core set. So who knows?
No. That is confirmed. That we're not getting a core set 20. I guess it'd be 2022. Or sorry, 2022. We're not getting that in 2021. Wow, that feels weird to say. We're going to be alive for 2021. Not in a grim sake. It's just as a kid, I was like, by the time 2020, we'll flying cars, and we got coronavirus, and I
Get
look
moon
forward to
juice.
seeing. I look forward to seeing the kaiju rise out of the sea on the bell for New Year's, January 1st,
I
2021.
say let
But
them
yeah,
come.
we are not getting a core set next year. The D&D set is replacing the core set for next year, which I am curious why they're doing that. Usually the core set is done in just some new cards and getting some good old reprints. But hey, I don't care what set gets shoved to bring the beautiful world of D&D into Magic. I do not. Even if Wizards came out and said the only set we're bringing out next year is the Forgotten Realms set, I would not grab my pitchforks. I would cheer because I'm just happy we're finally getting a D&D set. And I just love that both my favorite things to do in my spare time, Magic and D&D, are now blending together for a set. And hopefully, I hope it is very well received, so they can do Forgotten Realms 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 as the years go down. And this isn't just a one-off thing, because I would love to see this become a regular thing, and maybe not an annual thing. Although I wouldn't complain, but it gets to a certain point where it's a cash grab and they're just going to be printing cards that are just stupid. Let's not discuss the Walking Dead card sets that recently came out with Secret Lair.
Yeah, God.
It-
Go to
it-
the Underdark. Go to the Underdark.
It feels like they're making a move to bring. I mean, not like this isn't because I know we're talking crack theories, or we're supposed to be. But it feels like they genuinely are making a move to bring together the two IPs. Obviously, they are already together and intertwined, but even more so than before. Which, you know,
I will ask a quick question. Not a quick question, because I know we're going to ramble on it for a bit. What mechanics do you think we're going to see in the D&D set? Because I'm partial to like party. We saw party and
we are
D&D.
definitely getting a party set, or sorry, not a party set. They're definitely going to
Party
push
set.
more.
It's Chase's birthday.
Yeah, it's Jason's birthday, motherfucker! Oh, it's oh man, my brain. I wish I were good at drawing. Cause I'd love to put in the video right now, like Bolas with like a birthday cake in front of him, but he's all alone. But Ugin's hyping him up, just them two in the meditation realm. But we're definitely going to see party, because D&D at the end of the day is all about your party, the friends and compatriots you travel the world with, thwarting evil, or depending on your play group, thwarting good. Wherever you find it. I honestly think Zendikar was them testing the waters for the party set, because party wasn't needed before this, and Zendikar's been done twice, and this party was never a thing. And they even said in the live reveal, think of it like you're traveling Zendikar, like in D&D. I think this was them slapping Zendikar on the name because they knew it would sell, and folk love Zendikar. And don't get me wrong, I thoroughly enjoyed the Zendikar set. Really good cards in it. Good to see Landfall and Kicker come back, mainly Landfall. But I think, but party didn't really seem to make sense. With the story they told, it definitely did, because they really painted the lore with Nahiri forming a party and traveling Zendikar, so it did fit. I'm just saying that it felt weird that that was the set they made that mechanic in, and I think that was definitely a test to see if people loved it, and then if they did, they knew it, they could double down come the D&D set. It's going to be a shame to not see all the classes, but obviously in a vacuum, you can't just make all these new card types, because your party and then a full party in Magic is consisted of a cleric, a warrior, a rogue, and a wizard. Just 4 things. But you think about all the classes in D&D, but again, I don't think for this D&D set they're going to then make like fighter, barbarian, stuff like that, because they then if it's only for that one set, it could turn into a limited run / reserved list thing where later down the road
Mechanically, just not viable.
Exactly. But I definitely think we're going to see partying is going to come back, and I wouldn't be surprised if we know Wizards loves making artifacts. I honestly think we'll probably see a lot of very good artifact cards in this D&D set. But 100% agree with Harry on that one. We're definitely going to get the party system. The party system, if they didn't put the party system in the Forgotten Realms set, I would be unfathomably confused, because that is what D&D is. Traveling with your party. So not having cards based around that would be really weird. I do hope, though, the whole set doesn't revolve around that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to have, like, a Tiamat or Strad card that's all about in a party, because they are solo characters.
But come on, Tiamat and Strad in a party together? What?
Okay, no, I lied. I won that.
Fucking
Okay, no, you're right. I fucking lied. I won that as partner card. It was my partner commander. I'm gonna run the Strad Tiamat party deck. It's gonna be the life of the party. Yes, let's fucking do that.
Yeah, I think it would be really cool to get maybe a few more D&D spells into Magic. It's some insane like 9th level spells in D&D would be really cool.
Ooh, wish?
Like Power Word Kill. Power Word Kill
Ooh,
would be insanely
yeah.
cool. Like a board clear would be so cool. Power Word Stun, something like that operates like pacifism, would also be really cool. Cloud Kill. Just
I mean, Power Word Stun could be like phasing out. Tafari used to use a lot of phasing.
Yeah.
Sort of my audio has went a bit weird. I've switched rooms, let the dog out. But yeah, I agree. Power Word. I mean, Fireball is already in is already in. It's a Magic the Gathering card. It's 2 red and X, and you can do
I know.
that
I've
amongst.
played against you.
Sorry, but yeah, so I totally agree. I would love to see some spells as magic card. I think that'd be really cool.
Where's Magic Missile at? Where's Magic Missile at?
Magic Missile.
Magic Missile could be a really good card because it could be you can like Shenandra's I can't remember what it's called. It's Shenandra's Outburst. It's 2 damage spread to any number of targets. I think it'd be really cool if you do Magic Missile as a card, and it's you do 4 damage divided as you choose amongst any number of targets, creatures or players. So like or 4 at a single target. I think that'd be a really good card and not that broken because you can either ping 4 cards for 1 damage or ping a single target for 4. I think that'd be a really good card to see in the upcoming set.
It would be an interesting design if it was like you've got 4 damage, but you have to spread it out, like 1 to each 4 different targets. I know that sounds not great. Well, not amazing, but not great. But I mean, it would be interesting because it's kind of like Magic Missile. The spell is all about like you're sending out a bunch of missiles, and they're all like little baby boys, and they can all go to like specific different targets. They all hit. So it could be like a 4 damage spread out between 4 targets, but who knows?
Or I'd also like to see like a really meta type of card, like called like Roll for Initiative, where like if you play it on your turn, you can like choose which creatures block or attack this turn.
Ooh, yeah, that would be fun.
I not that cool. But an instant that is literally just shield. So like a perfect like because if you've got Magic Missile, you've got to have shield, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Shield as an instant, Mage Armor or Bark Skin as enchantments would be really
Well,
cool.
shield could be, dude, because you've got a lot of green cards that say prevent all combat damage this turn, but for shield, it could be something as simple as, I think it'd be a good 2-drop blue card, and it could be prevent the next 5 damage dealt to you this turn, or something along that, or it could be 2 blue and X, prevent the next X damage dealt to you this turn.
Yeah. One thing that might be, I don't know if this is a shoo-in, but something iconic from D&D, I mean, the level up mechanic from Rise of the Eldrazi. I mean, what's more iconic than leveling up in Dungeons and Dragons?
I'm sorry, but there is no sexier word that anyone can mention. It doesn't matter if it's your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your wife or husband, but there's nothing sexy on hearing a DM tell you will level.
Oh, baby! Speak to me sweetly.
I was thinking about that as well. Like a level up mechanic would be insanely cool. A mechanic that allows you to cast spells through creatures. Because I know we say like we don't want them to do anything insane with the mechanics, but if it's replacing the core 2022 set, then it would kind of make sense that they've put a lot of work into it.
I mean, it wouldn't be too crazy to implement something like that. I mean, with just Commander Legends there, we had Toggle, the great or master weaponsmith. I love Wizards, whoever came up with that name, I love you, because all he does is make rocks, and in the art he's holding rocks. I love he's a great goblin weaponsmith, but he just makes rocks. I'm not being sarcastic, I legitimately love that card. It was funny, and I enjoyed playing it in the draft I did the other week. But that card's ability is it makes anytime a land ETBs, you make rock tokens. Those rock tokens get attached to a creature, and you can tap the creature to do 2 damage to any target. You have to sacrifice the rock, but it'd be cool if you could give a wizard or a creature or any creature a spell book, and you could tap that creature to do insert. So basically, like a sorcery that you can tap your creatures to do, or an instant.
I mean, we did have Splice onto Arcane from the Kamigawa block, which is basically not the same thing because it's like splicing something onto like an effect onto another spell. But I mean, could work similarly. Could be like pay the splice cost, put it onto a creature, and then like the card says like, okay, this is the cost for splicing it onto this creature. The creature gets this ability. It's either like a recursive ability or it's something that happens once. But who even knows? But that would be sick. There is a precedent for that. There's a precedent for like moving text onto other cards and like giving them extra abilities.
Yeah, I mean, you got what is it? Mutate.
Oh, mutate, baby.
Yeah. Little strange one. Because I know we've been talking about Magic for a long time. We're kind of wandering into the world of D&D.
Bring me there, baby.
Let me take you there. In this insanely crazy time, I know me and Ali have been playing Magic online using Magic Arena, which sometimes, doesn't really emulate the exact same feeling of screaming at your friend as they constantly throw down more and more tokens of 1/1 soldiers. But there are ways you can
Speaking on that, if you're listening, buddy, Tom, I love you.
We're all apologizing to our friends in this podcast.
Oh no, I'm not apologizing. He loves his. He runs a Mardu black, white, red deck, and he loves his fucking 1/1 soldiers that then become like a million with trample. And he's like, I move to attack step, and you're like, well, better clench because I'm gonna take real life damage from the amount of things coming to me right now.
My segue asunder, completely ruined. But yeah, playing MTG online and connecting with mates that way is fun and all. But I know we've all been running and playing in home games, or not so home games, of D&D over the past 9-month-long march. So just for people out there who, obviously, we're coming up on the end of quarantine, the worldwide quarantine.
Hopefully.
D on D, D on D. If you're playing D and D,
Dungeons on Dragons, dude.
And they live,
that reminds me of my favorite game. I like to play as the monster. It's called Humans and Houses.
Segue asunder.
Rupture, dude.
Basically, what I'm trying to say is, how do we all play D&D online and match that energy of a home game? Of just like being with your friends, getting that ambience, getting that like flicking through all of your spells, sweating as someone brings out a massive miniature. How do you as a DM do that? And how as a player do you feel playing D&D online?
That's a great question, and I don't want to put, as someone who is a DM themselves, I don't want to put too much pressure on the DM but with saying this statement, so I don't want any DMs listening to be like, oh fuck, he's saying it's all my fault. But I think a lot of that kind of falls on the DM. Now, a DM, and you can have the world's best amazing DM. If you get shit players, it's not fun. But if you've got great players and you have it, or if your player has a great DM, there's ways that you can still get around that. I mean, I've actually never had a game in person apart from the first game I ever had, and even then, I had 2 members there, and the rest were phoning in because I've got players in Scotland and players in America. And I used to be a player in England, a player in Scotland, a player in fucking America. But like, you can kind of emulate that like feeling of slapping down the ridiculously big dragon mini with I don't know what softwares other people use, but I have grown to love and adore Roll20. As if you remember, Kings, to my old games, it was my webcam facing a table, and I had vape bottles that I painted for the minis of the players, and I would literally make all the bad guys that are just things I could find.
I remember getting attacked by a big blue bottle cap, and it was a water elemental trying to drag me to hell. It was great.
And so I've managed to find that way, kind of the same kind of feeling, maybe not as core, but I feel I still get the same as some of my players. Is on Roll20, you can change the sizes of icons and minis, and if they encounter like a dragon, I will make it depending on the size. If it's huge, large, gigantic, I will change its size. And my players' minis always sit at a 1 size. I'll make the ancient dragon be a 9 size, even though in terms of D&D, it's only like 2 sizes higher. To really emulate the scope and how small they are compared to it, I will have the dragon token I've made fucking huge. And usually when I have minis like that, I do hear you all at the table being like, fuck, look at the size of that thing! And obviously, it's not as good as putting a mini in the table, but I mean, even taking it a step back, not everyone can afford minis. Minis are really expensive. This is like even go back to like post, but back when home games were a thing. Not everyone can afford minis. Not everyone's got high-paying jobs or people are in a bad place. But minis aren't exactly cheap. A good dragon mini will cost you like $30.
Yeah. I mean,
But I managed to almost anyone. What I hope for in my person, I hear their reactions. If I see they're fighting something that's a size large or huge, I will make the token that size as well. I'm not going to put like I'm not going to sit there in the script and go, you go into the lair and you see this gigantic, colossal beast bearing down on you, and then when they look at the map, it's an icon the same size as them. Kinda for me, it'd break my immersion, even
mm,
though if I'm using a battle map, you could argue it's no longer theater of the mind. I think it's both. I play in 2 games that are done in D&D, that are done on Roll20, and I just use the battle map to see where I'm going. The game is I'm very much a theater of the mind player, and I feel like just with little things like changing a size of a mini, you can really show the scope to your players of this is a huge threat you're dealing with.
yeah. Um, I mean, a lot of us play over Discord as well. And I know I personally and Ali as well, we both use Rhythm Bot just to create that ambience. But Harry, you use Watch Together.
Yeah,
Um,
so I mean, to run my games, I mean, like the thing about playing home games and playing online, there's always going to be stuff that gets like lost in translation. You
mm,
know, it's there's always going to be like, okay, like I can't hand out like physical papers to my players. Like I can't, you know, like it's not feasible. But I mean, it can always be something as simple as just like playing some music. It
yeah.
can't always be like you can supply visuals. You can like there's a full on like MS Paint, a little inscription or a puzzle, like or a little inscription. Like it's totally fine to just do what you can with what you've got. And I mean also to sort of not to replace, but to sort of emulate this feeling of like a giant mini coming down on the table or an intricately made like wooden craft battle map. You can totally there are programs that are out there like one that you've introduced me to, Kingsley, Dungeon Draft. That was incredible program that allows you to create these absolute masterpieces of maps.
Mm,
When you like unveil those to your players, there can really be like a wow factor of like, wow, my DM spent a lot of time like crafting this thing for us. And like, yes, it's not the same, but it evokes kind of like a similar kind of feeling because it's like when you're a DM, you want to be you're just giving to your players. You know, you just want to show your players that you put a lot of time and effort and you care about the effect, the scope, the cinematics of whatever kind of scene or encounter you're trying to run. It really is just that feeling of like, hey, I've put some effort into making this look presentable, or even it doesn't have to be presentable, but I've put some effort into making sure this evokes a certain feeling. Um, there's just some ways, easy, simple ways that you don't have to use any money on, that you can kind of instill a specific vibe into your players.
it's
Sorry, not to interrupt you, but I know
no,
Roll20 has a fog of war. It has a fog of war setting. It's like there's like the added mystery of an encounter where you can't see everything. I know I ran one for you just a few days ago where I
mhm.
fully murdered Richard. Again, super sorry about that, dude.
So sorry,
Um,
Richard.
so sorry, man. But like it's those little things. It's like there are things you can do online to create those feelings and to nurture sort of wonder and surprise. You know, it's totally those things are all available to you on the internet, just as available to you as they are in real life. You know, so there's so many different ways that you can do that with your players at your table.
Yeah. Now more than ever, I think. I don't know why I feel like a teacher saying that. Current point in time, I genuinely think it's actually sounds so weird because if you've got Wi-Fi, right? If you've got Discord, obviously, you're probably paying for your Wi-Fi. If you're not, your partner, your parent, whoever you're living with might be. Discord is free. Roll20 you don't need to really pay for. There's other things like Foundry VT. There's also just, you can make maps on your own. D&D now is probably more accessible and cheaper than it probably ever has been. Like, I know personally,
Oh,
I love
100% agree with you on that one, because even like gone are the days, and luckily I've never done it once because I'm fairly new to D&D. I mean, I started playing in September 2019 and then was DMing by January 3rd, 2020. But I only had one game under my belt at that point. But like, gone are the days of here's my 10,000 sheets and trying to like imagine trying to reorder your spells. You've got the book of all the spells you have, and then it's like, right, I can now write down in my fucking character sheet what spells I can cast for the day. If you want to cast that spell, you have to fan through the player's handbook. Gone are those days. Now, D&D Beyond, a free service, and we are not sponsored by them or anything. It's where they say they're a great free service. I now pay $2 a month for unlimited characters because I had an alt account and ended up making accounts that have more characters on it just for DMing. Because I like to make certain NPCs have actual character sheets. Or when you get addicted to rolling new characters like I am, I end up just paying the $2 a month to have unlimited character sheets. But even if you don't pay, you have 6 character sheets. And even if you're only in one game, you are good for that character. All your spells are there. You don't have to sit there and do math. All you got to do is put in your character name. You don't even have to roll your fucking dice for stats. They can roll the stats for you. Or you can roll your stats and put them in. You don't have to work out what's my ability score, what's my bonus, what's my to hit bonus. No, it does all of that for you. And even now with their newest update, you don't even have to own dice. They have a dice roller system inside the browser or app. I mean, there's tons of free. I mean, there's tons of free rolling dice rolling apps out there on your phone. But D&D Beyond now has a way you can roll dice in house, and you don't have to work out all this math of like, well, my strength modifier is this, and I'm proficient with this sword. So okay, that's 2 plus 3, so 5. 5 to hit. Okay, no, it does it all for you. And then even then, like, with your like passives and all that, you have to work it. All the math is done for you. D&D is one more playable than it ever has been, and 2 more accessible, and I think easier to play than ever it has been to play.
Because I know me and Harry started back in 4th edition. As obviously very nerdy kids at school, we loved playing D&D with a couple of friends of ours, and I remember just looking at my sheet and being like, "What the fuck is an armor class? What am I doing?" I truly just so confused. As someone who hated maths as well, I was like, "Oh, clickety clackety, here I go." But now you don't even need dice. I have a extension on Google Chrome that if I'm in D&D Beyond, I literally just press a button and it rolls that dice on D&D Beyond. On D&D Beyond, and puts it onto Roll20 or Foundry or wherever.
Or yeah, and actually, and adding the gas to the fire, which you're speaking about, there's even a D&D don't have now made a Discord bot that you can type in your Discord like exclamation mark Roll20 to hit, and the bot will post your character sheet once it's linked into the Discord chat you're in with the character, the to hit stats, everything already there, and like you can now you can just you don't have your account open, you can just play in a Discord call with your friends, type in that same call, and this bot through D&D Beyond is accessing your character sheet and pasting the information live to you.
Yeah. If this is something that obviously I currently do not know who I'm talking about, don't know who I'm talking to, I'm just going to shoot a name out in the wild. Michelle, if you're listening to this and you're interested in learning how to do all of this stuff, learning how to set up online games, or you, Stephen, I hear you listening, don't know who you are yet. If you're interested, let us know.
Michelle and Steven are gonna get fucked up when they hear
Michelle
this.
and Steven
To all the random Michelle and Stevens, hope you're having a nice day out there.
Yeah, I truly hope you're having a blessed day. If you guys are
kiss.
interested, your name doesn't even have to be Michelle or Steven. If you want to know more about it, let us know. We're more than happy to post tutorials, more than happy to give you, we'll post along, I think, all of the links to the things that we're talking about. Because at the end of the day, we just love D&D, we love magic, we love video games, we love all things, as Ali said, geeky and nerdy. And we want you to love them as well. So if you're interested, do let us know, leave us a comment. write us a letter, send it to Lapland. Santa will get in touch with us, and we'll we'll post those and we'll help you guys play these online, because it might not even be, this might be 2024. You guys might not be in a hellscape anymore. And you might just have friends that live in the United States and you live in Iceland, or that's a long shot, or you live in the UK and your friends live in Poland.
That's a long shot.
You might just want to play D&D, because I know me and Ali, we play. I live here in the UK. Ali lives in the States. And we play D&D basically weekly or bi-weekly, just playing online, and it feels to me just like any kind of home game I've ever played. It's the same kind of ambience, it's the same excitement. I remember at one point having to walk across a room, just sitting, me personally playing the game, watching someone do something. I had to go and take a moment and take a second away from the table, because someone was doing something and I just didn't know what to do about it. D&D is more accessible than ever now, and it's a fun game to play with your friends. That's my whole bit. Goblins are handsome.
Yeah, baby. It's back around.
Yeah.
Third time's the charm. Yeah,
Oh.
I mean, I think the thing is, due in part to how just incredibly accessible the rule set for 5e is. I mean, it's just like an incredible game to play with your friends, and you could just do so much with it. And like, if you're a person and you're like, I've never played D&D before, and you don't have anyone to play D&D with, or your friends have never played D&D before and you want to play D&D, and you're like, oh, I could never DM. There's no way I could ever DM. Trust me, like, you can. Like, absolutely you can DM. People think it's this big, crazy thing that you need to be amazing at to start with. Like, I ran some D&D campaigns that were fucking horrible. I ran some really bad D&D campaigns, and it was all a learning curve, but no one ever had a bad time. No one ever said, like, I did not have fun playing D&D. It's make-believe, it's make-believe and you roll dice. Like, there's not a single person who I've ever met whose face does not light up when they say, oh, you found a magical dagger. I mean, that's always universally cool. Universally, like, a great feeling. So, like, if you have never played D&D before and you have some friends who've never played D&D before and you want to play, just get stuck in. Don't worry about whether you're going to be good, because it's a learning curve. You're always going to start off being a little bit rusty or not really knowing the rules set, or you like having kind of a hard time with some of the more finicky rules. Just get stuck in. Find your friends, just make a night of it, and do it over. Make a night of it, yeah. Just fucking throw some goblins at him. Send him to a cave and just have fun. Have fun with your friends. That's why we play.
I can't agree with that more. I'd only ever played D&D once, and I started DMing for 6 players. I now run a 9-player campaign that's been running since January 4th this year. I had 1 game under my belt, but I love being creative. I love making stuff. Like, my whole world is homebrew. A lot of DMs I knew had said to me, like, look, start off with 3 or 4 players and follow a module. I looked at a module and was like, this is a little bit confusing, and I'd rather just do my own thing. Fuck it. And I have not used a single module or anything. Everything's been completely homebrewed till it is right now. And anyone can DM. I was someone who'd played D&D once. Luckily, I had players in the group who had played D&D before, and don't be afraid. If you want to DM and like, say you're a first-time DM and like you want to pay back your DM who's forever doing things for you, and you want to give them some time off, don't be afraid to DM that game for them, because I had the person who DM my first game for me at the table, my other half, who is a phenomenal storyteller, and Kingsley again, who is a godlike DM. I said to them, like, look, okay, so how does this work? How does flanking work? Like, don't be afraid to ask, because they're going to help, and they're not going to give you shit for that. They're playing at your table. You're doing the favor for them, which is DMing them a game. And I just wanted to dip my toe in the water and see if DMing actually was for me, and it was. The campaign is now 9 months long. We've cried at the table. We've laughed at the table. And it's now, like, I'm not like, oh, I've got a DM this week. I am excited. I am the one that after my sessions is like, when are we having the next game? Because my players are a joy to DM for, and it's just such a good time all round. And if there's any people listening who want to be a DM and they're nervous to, take that jump. And say maybe you DM and you're not enjoying it. DM maybe isn't for everyone. Maybe you'd rather be a player. That's okay too. D&D is about having fun with your friends. And for some players might find that fun in being a player, others might find it in being a DM. Just the most important thing is if you are going to be a DM, don't make the mistake of thinking that you're against your players and your players are against you. You're both there to tell a story and have a great time. And my first two sessions, I was like, no, it's me against them. But it wasn't in a vicious way. I wasn't like, fuck them. I just thought that's how to make encounters. But no, when you're DMing, you're telling a story with your friends. You might be the storyteller, but you're as big a member as each member of your players in that party. You're just another party member. You're with them telling a story. Don't get lost up in thinking it's you against them. It's all friends having a good time, going through an adventure together.
Yeah, absolutely. Kingsley, if you'd like to take I have a little segue here, but I'll let you do your thing.
I was gonna say, yeah, I couldn't have said it better. I think D&D is all about having fun. Again, if you guys want to get into it, so many good resources online. We'll post some things if you want us to do that. Oh, what's this handy dandy little device I'm getting onto? Oh, looks like a segue. Harry, take me away.
Jesus
It's a
fucking Christ.
gas-powered Segway.
Oh,
On the topic of a DM and their players and the relationship, and not feeling like it is a sort of a player versus a DM situation, but also just in terms of like what happens, how can it feel when it is the DM versus the players. Let's talk about uh, encounter design. Let's talk about far over deadly encounter design. Let's talk about dangerous DMs. Have you guys had any experiences where you've had a DM who has created, not saying, by the way, this is not inherently a bad thing. I'm not saying that designing hard encounters is a bad thing. I'm talking about, like, how does it feel to be in an encounter where you know your DM is gunning for you? Where you know your DM's like, I'm going to straight up murder you, and you guys have to figure out how to not die. How does that feel? Like,
I
how does
mean,
that feel being a player?
I've had it on both ends. I don't know if he's listening. I really don't. Jason, if you're listening, I'm sorry for Maka. I for the first time, because I've recently moved to the States, and I I'm completely brain farted. Yeah, I've a friend of my other half asked someone to join. Let's call him a friend of mine now. Asked someone to join his game because he felt it was right I'd be there since my other half was there and I was now living in the States. And because I was coming in kind of late to the campaign, I like diving into characters. But I thought I'd do something somewhat easy. So I did a totem barbarian, not realizing how fucking disgustingly broken they are. And with the taking half damage and all that jazz, he would begin throwing crazy stuff at me. There'd be people much easier to go for, and he would just outright go for me. And I think after that session, he was like, "I've given up trying to kill you. I've now seen it's impossible." And I just couldn't help be like, "I'm so sorry, man. Like shit." That character, fun enough, is now air quotes dead as he killed himself with a bag of holding trying to save the party.
oh.
But on the other end of that, I have had a DM who only looked at the health. Like challenge rating matters, action economy matters. If you're a first time DM or a DM who is learning the ropes of how to properly balance, say you have 5 or 6 players and you've seen them, like you got a fighter that can take 10 billion attacks on his turn, he can still sorry, I just lost right. Too many attacks. It doesn't matter. You got to look at the action economy. Like, say you look at a dragon. A dragon has only got 190 hit points. My players can definitely take care of this. Yeah, they're level 6, but this ancient dragon they can take care of. You got to look at what it can do because if your players don't kill that dragon by the time it's the dragon's turn or the dragon gets first initiative, its breath attack could kill the whole party in an instant, and that's what you have to look out for. I have been in that receiving end where a dragon done a breath attack, and I watched. Luckily, my character was dumb enough to jump on the dragon's back and hang out there. But the breath attack killed 3 of the players
We've all tried
instantly.
it.
It wasn't even they're unconscious. It was outright dead. These players are now dead. You have to look at everything when building an encounter, not just the health. And I am guilty of that myself. When I first started DMing, I was like, why is this challenge rating 11? I've got 6. I have six level. I have six level fours at the time for you guys. Yes, I have six level fours. They can definitely take on this challenge rate in 12. Why? This is going to be fine. I saw people dropping left, right, and center, and was like, shit. Yeah, there might be six of them, but this thing has four attacks. It has a really high AC, and it's got legendary actions. Things like that are stuff you have to watch out for. And I have been one done that to my players, and two, I've been in the receiving end of that 3 different times from new DMs, and just when they didn't plan the encounter out, and it just really hurt. Where you're like even some of like if you're new to D&D, you don't usually know the threat. You're like, oh, it's a big threat, like it's big and scary. We can take care of it. But if you're a player who knows it, like I know the monster manual pretty well, and my DMs, I saw the image come up on the screen of what we're fighting. I was like, we're all gonna fucking die. Like we're all going to fucking die. And obviously it's a learning curve. Like sometimes that unfortunately for your players, you will learn through killing them or hurting them. But I would highly advise when building an encounter, you have to look at not just the health or the challenge rating. Look at everything that creature can do, because sometimes that's enough to TPK.
I think that's absolutely true. You do have to really. Obviously, we're talking about if you're a new DM, stuff like that. But there are times, and I know this from being on the DM side, where you, and I know we've all done this, where you really want to not railroad your players, because it's a different style of play. It's not a style of play I personally like, railroading. But when you want to get you want to get a message across to your players. You have an enemy that seems absolutely impossible to beat. You want to have something that just from the get-go, your players get a couple of hits in. You can give them the chance to have an insight check or a medicine check from far back, or even something crazy, a combination of the two, and cut that in half. And if it looks like that enemy is still standing, doing really well, and then they get their chance to do damage and they can clear half of the player's health, that sends a very clear message to your PCs that, oh boy, we really need to get out of here. And I know that's something that you're very good at, Harry. Playing in your campaign very recently, having had that happen. I mean, what does it feel like to be a DM saying, "Hey, look, this is a way beyond deadly encounter. Deal."
Yeah, I mean, I love creating encounters. I think it's like one of my favorite things to do in D&D. I think it can also it can kind of set the tone. It can kind of set the tone of the campaign really well. It can be like and also oftentimes when people think of encounters, they think of like, okay, we go into a room, we murder all the things, right? We see 9 things, we're gonna murder them. We're gonna stab them till they stop moving. With video game logic, we're gonna go in here, we're gonna murder them, and then it'll be done, and then we'll get our gold and shiny dagger, and then we'll be on our way. Like, and I'm not saying that's like a bad encounter, because like fuck me, I love murdering things. It's like my favorite thing to do. But
That'd
like,
be a great soundbite for out of context.
yeah. Okay, if anyone's listening to me, I do go to therapy. Trust me, I am of sane and healthy mind. But like, no, I mean, I like to make my encounters kind of like a little bit of variance, and the encounter that I just recently ran, it was an encounter that was like about, hey, you have to do these tasks. And then once those tasks are done, you are dipping the fuck out of there, because there's a lot of stuff happening, and all of it is not good, basically. So it is more just kind of like it's like what you said. It's trying to send a message to your players, and it can be kind of establishing those story beats of like, there's this dude and he's incredibly fucking strong, and you're not going to beat him now, but when the players come back around and they face him again, they're 2 levels higher, 3 levels higher, it's going to feel so good when they finally get that hit on him, and it actually works, and it actually does something, and it can kind of it can kind of give your story that kind of flow of like, because we've all played fucking Mega Man X, right? Mega Man X, one of my favorite games. You fight Sigma. You fight Sigma, the first boss, and he just trounces you. He just beats the tar out of you, and you're like, how? What's nothing's working? Like I'm hitting him with my fucking blaster. Nothing's working. And then Zero comes out of nowhere, beats the shit out of Sigma, and you're like, whoa, that's so crazy. And then at the end of the game, you fight Sigma again, and you're all upgraded up, and you've been through the whole game, and you are on level footing with him, and it feels so good just to have that not only story progression, but mechanical progression to be like, we're different now, we're trained, we're stronger. It gives your players that sense of like, we've actually come from somewhere. We started somewhere, so obviously have started somewhere. We couldn't even beat this guy. This guy was doing like 25, 30 damage to us. We were basically on death's door. We like lost some NPCs, lost a PC in the fight or whatever. And now we're in the final fight, or not even the final fight, just another fight down the road, and we're fighting the same dude, and it feels much better. We've come somewhere, you know? And it's those fights of like giving your players those failures, and not even necessarily forcing them to fail, just giving them those encounters that they don't feel so comfortable in, those encounters where they're like, oh shit, we kind of have to get out of here because we're not going to win this, we're not going to heroically come swoop in and save the day and do everything right. It's giving them those encounters that didn't go quite right, and then giving them that second chance to like go back, do it again, and like find out that they're a little stronger than the last time. It can give them that kind of catharsis, and that's why I like running those kinds of encounters, because it gives the world kind of that open feeling, you know, that feeling of like you are not the main, well, you are the main characters, you're the perspective characters, but you are not the top dogs just yet. You are level 3, you're level 1, you're level 3, whatever. You are not the top dogs. There's stuff in this world that's much more dangerous than you are right now. You're gonna see it, you're gonna fight it, you're gonna realize how much it sucks to be like weaker in this world, and then you're gonna get stronger, and it's gonna feel great. It's gonna feel fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And that's why I run them.
What I mean, there's the other side of this. Obviously, you know, playing with a danger DM, a DM that either is out for blood or truly just does not know, like truly just doesn't get that the encounter they've designed is beyond deadly. But there's also a player that just doesn't take the hints. And not that there's fault on either side. It's just sometimes, you know, a player gets into this mindset of, like you said, not that they are the perspective character, but they are the main character. And you remember, Harry, this a Halloween one shot that I ran for you and a few friends.
Beautiful. It was beautiful. You should have seen it. It was so spooky. There were squash everywhere. We went trick-or-treating.
A lot of spooky, scary skeletons. And there was this one recurring enemy that was a death knight that for some reason one of my players had got in their head that that was their mortal nemesis and that they had to kill it. But this enemy was way above their pay grade. It fully could not be killed, and he kept going back, not just once, not just twice, 3 times to try and kill this thing after being downed, I think, twice. And there's a certain point where you as a DM have to make the decision of being like, okay, either I need to get the message away, I need to get the message across in another way, or I go with the way that the PC visualizes their character. Because again, it's a game where you're just having fun. So if you remember, I gave the character as you were taking over this lich's lair, who was actually your great grandfather.
Yeah, kind of rough.
That one character went down, had died, and because he was within your aura, you were able to bring him back as your own Death Knight. And I kind of homebrewed a few rules for him that he had powers very similar to the Death Knight he was fighting. So I kind of made it that it wasn't up until then, all of the encounters had been beyond deadly because it was trying to get you to a certain point. And at that point, that character had such a vendetta against the Death Knight that it only seemed fair to put him on level footing. Only seemed fair to give him some kind of closure to this story he had made in his own head. But also for the whole game, I was the danger DM. I was fully trying to kill you.
I remember.
Sometimes you don't do it maliciously. You do it because it's like, because of the theme of the story. And it's just like, my friends will have fun if I do this. And I remember you guys shouting and screaming at me and being calling me an asshole, but not
somebody stop him.
Not me as a person, but me as the DM, as the like god of this world, the one who's making all of these events happen. You guys were just like, you're a fucking dick. I hate you. Oh, I'm gonna shit in your bed. And I was just like, love it, really, baby.
So funny. I mean, yeah, you're finding something real nice there, where it's like, it's fun. It's not necessarily always fun to just be the danger DM, but it is fun to be a threat. It is fun to see your PCs kind of strategize and like come up with new, and like forcing them into a corner and see how they fight their way out. As long as at the end you give them the W, you give them the dub.
Yeah.
You gave him the dub, man. You saw what he wanted. You said it's going to be a lot more satisfying for the story if in the end he gets that dub, because we take the L's. We take the L's. You got to take the L's sometimes. Sometimes, even as a player, as a DM, you take a big fat L from your players or from your DM. But you get back up. You go looking for that W, baby. All right, you go looking for it.
9th level spell, power word W.
Power word dub, bro.
Power word dub, and that's at the end of the day, that's what we're all looking for. It's not just combat encounters either. I mean, sometimes you can create encounters that are somewhat combat, but they are just I'm in a shit situation. And you know who does that really well? Ali. Thanks for giving my entire pirate crew Kraken Madness. That was a great time. I say that lovingly because it actually genuinely was a great time. But me as a pirate lord and as a player, I was just like, I'm so insanely fucked.
It was funny seeing like half the PCs. I think it was you, Quinn, Quinn, and Slannis and Kat were the only ones who didn't lose their mind to to Kraken Madness, and then all 59 of your crew lost their minds. And it was just funny seeing like you, the captain, trying to deal with this crew and they're batshit crazy, and deal with all the PCs, well, with all them staying true to it and playing their characters with the madness. It was funny to watch you guys all out in the middle of the ocean, not in a city, stuck out at sea, trying to deal with 60 plus hostile people.
Yeah. And then, realizing that we've finally done it, we've gotten all the gold. Apart from the fact that you play a continuous world, your campaign is continuous, and one of the players couldn't make it that week, but he had gold on him. He had cursed gold on him. And we thought we were all free and happy. But no, we forgot about that PC and actually had to go into their room to stop the madness and steal gold from their unconscious body, which was, not a fully deadly encounter, but there were so many things going on that it feels... you can have deadly encounters and you can have encounters that are just... so much stuff is going on that I don't know what to focus on. And that as well, like that's not danger DMing, but that puts your players in a situation of like, oh shit, we really need to prioritize or we need to get out of here. And when you're on a ship in the middle of the ocean, you can't get out.
Absolutely. Abso-frigging-lutely, guys.
Abso-friggin-lutely. I think we've covered a lot of fun stuff. Obviously, going from I won't say what we were talking about at the beginning because I'm sure you can all remember. Going from our MTG fanon, talking about Commander decks, talking about, Wizards of the Coast and what they're planning for 2021, 2022, some more synergy between their products, what we want to see out of it, what other people want to see, and we'd love to hear what you guys have to say and what you guys are looking forward to. More than happy to provide resources if that's what you guys want, to look up these things on your own. But I think we've had a lovely time talking, just chatting about some of the stuff we love. And I think, it's a good point for us to wrap up.
Yeah, I agree.
It feels like it's been like 5 minutes, but it's been, I think, an hour and a bit.
Truly,
Hour and a
that's
bit,
what
yeah.
happens when you talk and listen to the things you love.
Yeah.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Speaking of wink, wink.
Obvious.
Oh,
Well, speaking of wink, wink, nudge, I just want to say to anyone listening, obviously, to that one person that is listening right now, because we have just started, so for that whole one person who is listening right now, I just want to say that times are hard right now. God knows whoever this makes it to, that time is hard. This COVID thing sucks, and people are stuck at homes or to their families or anything. I just want to pass on a message which is from Critical Role, and I really do agree with, is don't forget to love each other and treat everyone with kindness. You don't know what everyone's going through with mental health and everything in the current day and age, with the people that are going mad from stuck in lockdown to losing loved ones due to this horrible virus we're plagued with. And you never know, maybe showing that friend who you might think D&D's lame may actually be a good thing, or slinging some cards with some friends in a time where I think everyone could use a distraction.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
true. Love your friends, love your family, and love the things you do. And introduce your friends and family to the things you love, and they might end up loving them too.
Yeah, indoctrinate them, because if you get no one to play Magic or D&D with, start them, indoctrinate them, because then you may have found your playgroup or your adventuring party, they're just under the same house. Indoctrinate
You
them,
never know.
go full cult, brainwash them, and you've got players right there.
Your
Yeah.
53-year-old dad might have been a dwarven cleric all along.
Yep.
And on
Killing
that
daddy.
note, guys, we have been Saving Throws. We've really enjoyed chatting shit, and all sorts of manner of geekery and nerddom. Please, if you can, leave a like, share this around with your friends, give us a review, subscribe, and please, interact with us, or they will never release us from this prison jam that we are recording in now.
Help us!
Please help us.